One small piece of trivia about Memorial Day is that it's the only day when the American flag is flown at half-mast and full-mast both. And it symbolizes the fact that we honor those who have died and invested in our country, and at the same time declare that our country still rises towards the aspirations that they died for. And as we gather here today, we remember that Abraham Lincoln, at the dedication of the Gettysburg Cemetery, referred to the last full measure of devotion. He spoke of those who had died to ensure that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Memorial Day perpetuates a remembrance of those who sacrificed on our behalf in honor of the great American ideal. I wish us to remember three things today. Death was not the only sacrifice that our armed forces made on our behalf. They put their lives on hold. They shortened their days in risky activities. And they saw and did things that they will never forget. Second, they made these sacrifices for the great American experiment. Not for our transitory administrations or our shifting policies or even the occasional moral violations by our government. They served, fought, and sometimes died for the higher calling that we as American people have aspired to. Third, they made these sacrifices willingly and with less reservation than could be imagined. In the words of John F. Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Theirs was the belief that they were part of something greater than themselves and that it was something worthwhile to see perpetuated. My father did not die on a foreign battlefield, but he, like millions of others, responded to the call of our nation's need. He was drafted in 1950 from a small rock scrabble dairy farm in northern Minnesota. When the notice came, his mother suggested that perhaps the Navy was a better option, where he could have a dry place to sleep and 3 squares a day. He left home and spent 11 weeks at boot camp and was shipped out for Korea. On the way, word came that the Marines and the Army were losing the war and that the Navy would have to save them. Designated as part of a landing party, he and his buddies were dropped in Okinawa for small group training. But while they were there, the ground forces turned it around, and he was not needed to stop the communists. In spite of that, he was still annoyed till the day that he died, that he felt that his contract had been violated, that his 3 meals a day and dry berth had been transformed into him being an infantryman, which is not what he signed up for. That being said, I never heard him once complain about the conscription, the 4 years of life that he donated to our great country. It was what was needed, it was what was required, it was what he gave freely. Indeed, before he passed away, his pulmonologist said his lungs were a roadmap of his life. And those 4 years included standing watch, welding in closed compartments, breathing asbestos fibers while he was decommissioning his ship, and exposure to radiation at one of the first H-bomb tests. It probably shortened his life, but he did not voice regrets about that. We are part of the greatest attempt in history to bring dignity to human society and allow each one to live out their God-given rights and abilities of life, liberty, and the protection of property honestly earned. For the first time, a nation fought a war, our bloodiest, to destroy slavery and to proclaim that all men and women were created in the image of God. This is so common in our present experience that we do not recognize how radical the concepts are in human history. Those who we remember today are those who felt that these values were worth the sacrifices they made. My wife's great aunt was the last member of her generation who fought against the Nazis in the Dutch resistance. When asked why she hid Jews and why they risked their lives, she responded, "Somebody had to do it." Our military dead, whom we remember today, contributed because somebody needed to do it, and they were the people available. They did it for their countrymen, and indeed for generations yet unborn, who can claim to be Americans and to live in the home of the free and in the land of the brave. We eulogize. This word comes from the Greek to speak well of, and is translated in the New Testament as to pronounce a blessing over. We eulogize the memory of those who have given that last full measure and have departed this mortal coil. We do this not for them, but we do this for ourselves. This makes us grateful and gracious. It makes us more human and more noble in the simple act of gratitude, the simple statement of thank you to those who we owe so much to. To the departed, we say, thank you for your service.
Thank you. As the American Legion is here today in remembrance of those who've fallen, it is fitting that we have the auxiliary here with us as well. They are a great support, and they are a part of this Legion post. And we will now have the Poppy Queen and Princess perform the laying of the wreath.